press the record button. Recording is now fantastic. Oh, goodness. It's
Good. Mm-hmm.
it's a week, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a goddamn week. It's crazy that this week has been so well, uneventful news wise, but also just uneventful in
Mm-hmm.
general. Like this is one of those
Yeah.
weeks where I just didn't do anything. Like there's just nothing going on for me. Which is crazy. That's
Mm-hmm.
such a weird I'm usually so motivated and doing stuff, but this week I was like, no.
Mm-hmm. The
No.
weather probably affected everyone.
Yeah. Uh
Companies couldn't even be motivated to fuck things up.
yeah, it's been rough.
Mm.
Weather's been rough. I haven't
Too
like
cold for the usual trash fires.
yeah, it's crazy cuz I'm in a weird spot where okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I was recruited to be on another show to talk about Super Mario RPG. That's what they
Ah.
recruited me on there to talk about the remake. And
Mm-hmm.
Pete, I had to put in the Discord channel I'm in for that particular episode that's coming up soon,
Mm-hmm.
which that I hadn't really made much progress on working on it since I got back from the
Mm-hmm.
hospital. I had to be honest. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna be real with you. Can I
Mm-hmm.
take a different approach to this and talk about this game historically and not about the remake as much? Because I don't have a lot to offer you guys in
Mm-hmm.
critical assessment. And like, you're not done yet. I'm like, guys, I'm an enthusiast. I'm not the completionist. There's a difference. I'm an enthusiast. I don't
The game
always.
isn't sitting in a bank account for you.
Yeah, yeah. The game isn't sitting somewhere doing nothing, collecting dust, dying to inflation, as many things in this country tend to do over time. But yeah, that's yeah, I haven't had a lot to really talk about this
Mm-hmm.
week. I started. I mean, I all right. So I did kind of start Seven remake,
Mm-hmm.
but then I realized after I finished the episode that I wasn't recording in the resolution I wanted to be recording
Oh.
in, so I have to redo it now. So that's
Ah. Too low a resolution? Mm-hmm.
yeah. I had to relearn some stuff about OBS and like profiles and scenes and stuff because
Uh-huh.
I haven't had to mess with most of that shit in like a really long time because mostly everything I do has
Mm-hmm.
kind of been I've already set it up. When you don't have to mess
Yeah.
with it often, you
Set
don't
it up
think
once, save it, done. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't have to
Yeah.
like mess with it much. So I don't really think about it. So I had to like relearn it and
Mm-hmm.
then go back and then oh okay, so I have to make both of these things a thing for this to work. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, fantastic. So that was
Mm-hmm.
cool. So that's fixed. I will give the game credit.
Mm-hmm.
That performance mode on PS5, man,
Mm-hmm.
it's it feels good. Feels fucking good. You feel that higher frame rate. I swear to
Mm-hmm.
God you do. You
Okay.
you feel the difference cuz I've played a decent amount of this game on PS4 prior to now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not 60. This is absolutely running at higher than 30,
Yeah.
trust me.
I'm not surprised on the PS4 it wouldn't get 60. I would be kind of surprised if it was a stable 30.
Yeah, I can't speak. Yep. Mm. Okay. So, I'm gonna deal with this. One sec. I got to one sec. I promise. I promise.
Okay.
It's one sec. I just got to text this and I'm
Sure.
done. Uh Problem averted. Problem averted. problem averted. It dinged, and that's why I looked, because I was like, "What the fuck?"
Mhm.
And I read it, and I'm like, "Fuck! I have to respond to this. I have no choice. I can't like not respond and then get to it later." My bad,
Just make a
everybody.
note. Just make a note to cut this out of the episode.
It's early enough. I'll find it. Don't worry. There'll be a giant
All right.
pause with like no audio on either side for like 20 seconds. Trust me, I'll find it.
You're just gonna hear the waiting music from some old
Uh,
show. Dun
yeah.
dun 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 dun.
Do a zoom in on my face when when I'm writing the text, and I'm like, really? We're doing this right now? Really? Okay. We're here. Thanks. But yeah, I didn't. Fuck. Was I talking about Super Mario RPG? I was talking about Super Mario. Was I talking about Super Mario RPG for that fucking thing,
We
right?
were now with Final Fantasy with your recording, with
Oh
your
yeah, right.
on
Yeah,
PS5. You had 60. Yeah, I was just commenting that I was
the
pretty surprised that
PS4.
the PS4 had a stable 30.
I had the Pro, and that still
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel terrible, but it
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
didn't feel
definitely not the optimal version.
yeah, not the best version. I know, like these days, people
Mm-hmm.
get into like a big huff about like re-releases and like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the remastered versions and like 7 and Intergrade, and it's like, oh, it's just a remastered port of a game that already got released. Like some of that, sometimes some of that bluster, I go, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, fair, right? We talked about Last of Us 2 on this fucking show, that getting a
Yeah.
remaster thing, and we both went,
Mm-hmm.
is this really $10? Is this really, like, you couldn't have just released this shit as like a patch that you had to really charge people for this? I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel as much that way with Intergrade, because they added a whole other campaign to that. There's like a whole other piece of story content. So I'm a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more willing to forgive It's all contextual,
Yeah.
sadly. You can't judge things
Mm-hmm.
directly with a lot of these things. It's all very context when it was released.
Yeah.
Honestly, looking back,
And they did several other upgrades as well. I mean,
yeah.
the graphics didn't just get a retexture upgrade, but actual new textures, like where you had something like your top view of something that was way down. You had pretty much nothing there before, and now you had pretty comparatively high resolution stuff there,
Yeah,
for
doors,
example.
some doors look like doors now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Uh
reworked a lot there.
so I do tend to kind of pick and choose my battles on that one. And with Intergrade,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, you got me. That this was worth it. Plus, I think I didn't even have to pay for it. I didn't have to pay for Intergrade because, well, I had to pay for the DLC thing I wanted, but the
Mm-hmm.
actual upgrade to PS5 was free. So I'm not gonna, I'm not
Yeah, that's fine then.
not
Mm-hmm.
not really. Well, that and Arise too. Arise was also a free PS5 upgrade. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna snub at something for free. That just seems. Did
Sure.
the DLC for Rise, is that also for PS4, or is that just PS? Or is that PC and I wonder.
I'm pretty sure it's for both. I
Yeah,
would be
about
surprised if it was only for one because that's the same engine. It's and everything.
they didn't do anything. There's nothing in it that should have
Really, yeah.
precluded it
There really
from
wouldn't
being
be a reason. Yeah, really wouldn't be a
not
reason to not release that on PS4 as well.
not saying a company wouldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, not gonna rule it out, but I don't think
but
they did.
honestly, given that there are still so many PS4s out there, they would be stupid to let that money on the to leave that money on the ground.
Yeah, might as well pick it up off there. Not gonna
And
not
it's
gonna
not it's not much effort at all to just release it on there. So yeah,
not gonna walk by a $20 bill on the ground and just not pick it up. That's just
essentially, yeah.
yeah, no, you know what I mean. Like that's not gonna happen. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, that's been my
Yeah.
week. As uneventful as it seems, that's really
Hmm.
just been it. It has been uneventful, in case you could not tell. Which Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that
Just a little
purge.
bit, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of okay with uneventful once in a while, buddy. I really am. Sometimes I don't want shit to
Sure.
happen.
Sure, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, because for me, it's been pretty uneventful as well. Since I've only played some more of Grim Dawn, continued that one, and I used the autumn sale to get me Forza Horizon 5 and played some of that. Started that one out this weekend. Which, yeah, just like for pretty fun racing game, open world. Um, the campaign stuff is kind of hit and miss for me, but could be worse. The collecting the cars and racing doing the races and all that's fine. And they did improve in comparison to 4. They improved the trigger implementation for on the gamepad because now it's native Steam support essentially. Like you have actual feedback on the triggers for accelerating, decelerating, depending on the ground and all that. So that's a noticeable improvement there. That was good. I've collected. I think I'm around 50 cars now there. Just keeping collecting them, but there's still a lot to go.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Shit.
Still a lot of cars to go there.
It's a lot of stuff.
And mm-hmm. Yeah, but besides that, there hasn't been much because a certain delivery service has been dragging their feet. Because yeah, I got the email from Valve. I got the email from Valve that they've prepared the package some time ago.
I was about to say I hadn't heard an update on that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
dropped it in our Discord conversation, but you never
Mm-hmm.
like followed that shit up. So I just assumed you
Yeah,
got it.
because it took up till Thursday for me to get a notification that the delivery service picked the package up.
Jesus.
Yeah. So delivery service Valve has been using either is dragging their feet or they're seriously overworked this week.
It's a rough
So
week.
in theory, I might get it on Monday, but I'm not counting on it just
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
say they're aiming for Monday, but um, I'll believe it when I see it, so to speak.
Right.
I'll believe
I,
it when have it in my hands.
yeah. I'll believe it when it's here. How about that? Right. That's
Mm, yeah.
yeah. That's damn. I'll
Hmm.
see. Because I hadn't followed up on that. You posted it, and I was just like, oh, he probably already got it. He'd probably talk about it
I would have
eventually.
posted something about it. Yeah, if I had gotten it.
Like, he hasn't said nothing. He's probably holding on to
Hmm.
something. But then, like, now I find out. No, you just didn't have it, so shit.
Yeah, I was holding on to something.
Yeah, you're not holding on for an update, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, I'm holding on to a grudge against the delivery service.
Yeah, rightfully so. Fuck that. Make me wait.
Mm. Yeah, worked out far better the first time around, but yeah, might be
Okay.
they have too much to do, or maybe it's because currently it's Black Friday week and all that. Or it was Black Friday week.
Yeah,
Might be that
so
they have so much to do.
it's
Eh.
possible. You know,
Mm-hmm. In theory.
it's not an impossibility. Give me a
Mm-hmm.
second. I'm debating which one I want to
All
do.
right.
Okay. Let me open this up. All
Mm-hmm.
right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking a different approach this week. We're going to talk about
All right.
good games don't die.
Ah.
Mostly because I felt like this was
Mm-hmm.
better for the show this week, and it's going to give me it's going to give us a lot of juicy talking points. So give me a second. Let me
Mm-hmm.
switch over my source.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there it is. Good games don't die. There we go. Good games don't die. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so this particular thing is talking about legacy game management,
And
and
mobile games
mobile
in
games.
general. Yeah.
And there are some juicy bits in this white paper that I went
Hmm.
through and looked at. Some very juicy bits. I found some statistics in here. I found incredibly interesting, if not maybe a little depressing on some level,
Hmm.
as a creative individual who participates
Hmm.
in creative ventures. I find some of these statistics to be grossly depressing.
Yeah. It
Reasonable, but
it's
depressing.
certainly interesting to see what the current state is of the market, so to speak,
So
on to see the other side of it, especially since we mostly just see what's on the market or in the app stores, and we see, okay, there's a lot there, but we don't see some of this.
we're going to look at this part on page 4. Facing challenges from
Hmm.
ATT, inflation, significant competition, and other headwinds. In this,
Hmm.
their survey showed that 80%, 83% of launch games die within 3 years, and 43%
Hmm.
of games are killed in development before they fucking launch.
Yeah, that's quite the significant number.
God damn!
Hmm.
Almost half of you motherfuckers die out before you even like come out. Shit,
Yeah,
that's
and that's with
rough.
mobile games. So things that are ostensibly uh, less development intensive than bigger games on other platforms. Although obviously that's not quite as easy to develop anymore
Uh,
than in the earlier days.
Of those surveyed, 25% said ending development of a game left them feeling creatively unfulfilled or demotivated. Yeah, I'd say so.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks. I don't fucking blame
Hmm.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd feel fucking miserable.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
if you're relatively new to the career and maybe
Maj-
you had a game that you were interested in and wanted to see how it does.
yeah, I'd
Yeah,
be
that does suck.
pissed. Majority of games released on app stores die within 3 years, with just 5% receiving support beyond 7 years. Okay, so
Hmm.
this doesn't shock me because like 7 years is a
Hmm.
long time to be supporting anything.
Yeah.
Like 7 years? How many years does like a Windows launch get? Does it get 7 years?
I'm not sure what the current average is. I think we've had Windows releases that had that amount of time, especially back before back before Windows 10. I think
XP,
7 got quite a long. XP
yeah,
probably was relatively long supported.
bro, listen.
Vista was shorter. 7 was probably longer. But it always depends on if you mean just consumer supported by with updates, or if it's additional professional support for companies, or if it's support by other developers that make
Right.
applications for it. That's a whole different story. But I think just going by, yeah, releasing the OS and adding updates and stuff to it, 7 years, yeah, probably is relatively long, but for an OS, would be less surprising
Yeah.
because there's obviously not
Well,
that many. But with games, it's a whole different thing,
yeah, it's
especially
7.
since for AAA games we now have often yearly or
Yeah.
bi bi-yearly, every
Yeah,
2 years a
nothing.
release for Assassin's Creed, for example, or a new Call of Duty every year, Battlefield every year or two, and stuff like that. So there, it's more of a surprise, but it would be more of a surprise to have something that long. But that's definitely something that came about with games as a service and all that. And
Yeah.
with mobile, I think it's
Is
it's
there?
probably more feasible because you don't have as much in terms of development and upkeep costs and all that.
Yeah, but like, okay, so I'm coming at this from
Hmm.
like a weird perspective of like
Hmm.
7 years. I
Yeah.
don't know if I have too many pieces of software right now
Hmm.
that I've been using continuously for 7 years. Like I'm sitting here really thinking
Mm.
about like a single piece of software that I've continually like that's not an OS that isn't like some something like that like
I
just
mean,
a
certainly
piece of software.
Office, Steam,
Yeah,
Acrobat
Steam.
Reader,
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
mean,
that. There's
there's a
definitely software that's
that.
around for a long time.
Yeah, but all right, yeah. So I mean,
But it's often the case that it gets replaced by something else because development just doesn't
keep doesn't
continue the
it
same
doesn't.
way, or something better comes around. Like with before Discord, we were using Skype most of the time, so and before Skype there was TeamSpeak or regular IRC and stuff like that.
I
So
mean,
there was most often it's just relatively direct replacements in that
I'm
regard.
I'm more in. I'm also really interested in the notion of
Hmm.
like they mention updates after 7 years, like
Hmm.
after 7 years. Is that really even like an expectation? That
Uh, I wouldn't
is that
say an
is that
expectation.
well, I mean, seven is feels like a relatively arbitrary number to pick, so I would assume there must
Well,
be at least some level of
it's
expectation.
probably it's probably because that's the cutoff where they just have the 5%, and it's probably a big disparity between if it gets support for more than 3 years, then the likelihood that it receives more and reaches the 7 is probably more likely.
Yeah.
So there's
Uh,
probably the cutoff is after 1 year or 2 years, and 3 years it's probably a steep downhill, and then it's much slower to decline in terms of not getting any more updates. Would be
while
my guess,
six,
because if
well,
it goes longer than 3 years, you know there's a steady fan base there
right,
that's
you have a
kept going.
community. You have
Yeah.
you've hooked people.
So you know
You got
how
hooked them.
much to effort to put in to still keep it profitable.
While 62% of developers use live ops in most of their profitable mobile games,
Hmm.
38% do not release regular new content or updates, and less than half push out monthly updates, suggesting they are not maximizing their opportunities for engagement and monetization. Really?
Hmm.
38
Yeah,
38%. Shit. Okay. Well,
that's quite a bit.
I mean, what that tells me is that like that
Hmm.
38% maybe just say that the game's done. Like they've completed what
Yeah.
they want. Maybe cuz
One of the
why
reasons, according to the report, is also that they are more motivated to work on new titles.
well, we'll get to that then. How about that?
Hmm.
Let's push down the list a bit.
Yeah,
So here we have
because
some
I think most titles on mobile at least are made in a way that you can easily continue putting stuff in.
average number of legacy games in
Hmm.
portfolio is 18. 32% of
Hmm.
studios have made layoffs in the past 12 months. And
Hmm.
just given from the news we've covered this year,
That's
yeah,
not surprising. It's
yeah,
almost a low number.
yeah, I'm
That's
actually kind
almost a
of.
low percentage, honestly.
40% of studios have outsourced development tasks in the last 12 months.
Hmm.
76 of launch games hit their peak revenue in year one.
Hmm.
Let's see here. 78% of developers prefer to work. This is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
78% of developers prefer to work on new titles. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, fair. 78%. Most of you niggas just want to move on to the move on to your next project. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
As
I
someone who
mean,
spent
if you're working a few years on a game and then you just would be making still continuous updates and all. Sometimes it probably for a developer it probably just gets stale. They want to
40
focus on some new ideas.
37% 37% of studios update their most profitable titles weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean weekly is a lot. Like weekly updates, that's a
Yeah, but it's
lot.
understandable.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
makes
that way
sense.
you know that people keep coming back. That way you can make sure that they keep getting engaged. And the updates are usually not that big, so you can make that easily.
The audience,
It
there's
just needs
five.
to be a small stuff.
This white paper lists 504 mobile game developers, 251 in the
Mm-hmm.
U.S., 253 in the U.K.
Mm-hmm.
Developing mobile games for less than 3 years is 50%. Developing mobile games for more
Uh-huh.
than 4 is 47%. So that's not that great of a disparity. It's not
Yeah,
fair.
true.
That's almost 50-50.
Yeah, it's
Most
quite a
common
few
game
that are veterans, so to speak.
Most common are puzzle, shooter, and action games. Yeah, that makes sense.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
That makes sense.
especially the Puzzle Match 3. I'm surprised that it's not even more than that.
If we go down to market dynamics, we see that there were
Mm-hmm.
6,000 layoffs in
Mm-hmm. Just
2023,
this year. Yeah.
just this year. And you know what? I'm not, like I said, we cover this shit. I don't question that number. that
Yeah,
I'm not
the
questioning that. That's
Yeah,
I'm gonna
with the
take the
amount of developers and all, that's not too big of a surprise.
yeah,
Not at all, really.
I'm not taking that. I'm not questioning that at
Yeah,
all. 32% of studios made layoffs,
yeah,
24% cut down, and
yeah. Almost
then
shut down, yeah, and
almost shut
29%
down.
cut down their user acquisition budget. Yeah,
You what's user? Is that just getting new
user
people? Or
acquisition, that's essentially trying to get new people involved, like probably marketing, PR stuff, and things like that.
oh,
Hmm.
really?
Yeah,
30%
because
shit.
they probably those 30% probably didn't see enough return on their investment, so to speak, that they made whatever ad campaigns and stuff like that, and they did see only a few people coming into the game as new players.
Collectible card games
Hmm.
saw a 62% report of job loss. Jesus. Yeah, but like, okay, I'm actually gonna say it.
Hmm.
As someone who has participated in the CCG more in the physical based cards
Hmm.
than digital, as someone
Hmm.
who's participated in those spaces, this does not shock me. Okay,
Hmm.
I can walk. I have at least 3 card shops near where I live. If you walk into these card
Hmm.
shops these days, there's really only 2 card games people talk about in the physical card space. Maybe
Hmm.
3 depending on which store you go into. I'll tell you right off the bat:
Hmm.
Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hmm.
That's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. You like if you don't see the cards at your local card shop, ain't nobody buying the shit. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter how good your game is. If
Hmm.
you're not at the local
Yeah.
comic book store selling booster packs or selling boxes, ain't nobody give a fuck about your shit. Doesn't
Hmm.
matter. So
Yeah.
this,
And in the
yeah,
mobile game market, it's probably that's That's probably also quite the over saturated market,
yeah.
would be my guess.
Hyper casual studios have come the closest to shutting down. Huh, really?
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Puzzle Match 3 developers saw lowest rate of redundancies? What does that mean?
Hmm.
Redundancies? So, like,
Layoffs and such. Uh,
oh, no.
redundancy, yeah, you're made redundant, you have being laid off, essentially.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Open to
That's
outs.
just 34%, which is, yeah, that's pretty low comparatively. Not a big surprise, because those are very those have a very good distribution and comparatively I'll say probably a relatively steady customer group, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Especially if you look at things like, yeah, obviously the biggest example is Candy Crush.
Yeah,
The amount of levels, I think that one's probably in the thousands by now with the amount
yeah,
of levels they have because the the players demand even more levels.
yeah. I had a boss I used to work with who played Candy Crush on his breaks all the
Hmm.
damn time. Like that was
Yeah.
his. Like that doesn't surprise
Hmm.
me. That doesn't
Yeah.
even doesn't come close to surprising me at all.
Hmm.
40% of studios have outsourced development tasks. 30% outsourced publishing. 30% outsourced UA and creative. And a
Hmm.
surprising number here, because
Hmm.
as someone who has to recruit art and like other assets for projects I do
Hmm.
sometimes, only 28% outsourced art. Cuz
Uh-huh.
that's the thing I feel like you would outsource. Or maybe you would probably want to have someone on board on your staff for the art assets especially, cuz that's the
Hmm.
thing that draws people's attention, right? Because people are going to see the icon, they're going to see
Yeah.
the art you choose to show before they download it. So you probably
Hmm.
want those people on your staff and not outsourced. So yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, that
And
makes sense.
it's and with mobile games, it's probably not as big of a deal as in bigger projects like the AAA market and all. So this
Yeah.
the 28% is probably more the bigger games on mobile that get outsourced art, would be my guess. But a lot of it is pixel art or well, pixel art, some drawn, just hand drawn 2D art, which is probably less prone to outsourcing currently,
Uh,
at least.
in the
In
text,
the
it in
future, in the future, it's probably gonna be where AI is also gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
creeping in.
In the text in the second paragraph, it states in hyper casual space, 59% developers said that they outsourced development, 58% said they outsourced UA and creatives, 70% outsourced publishing,
Hmm.
or 70% publishing, in keeping with how most developers and publishers operate within the genre. So very clearly, the hyper casual is outsourcing quite a
A lot.
bit heavier than
Hmm. Yeah,
the
more
other ones.
significantly higher than average.
Yeah, very high. All right. Next page is success and failures.
Hmm.
Of those surveyed, 86% of developers felt that simply launching the app on the App Store was a success. Yeah, you know what? As a creative, sometimes the biggest W you get is just getting something out there. It doesn't no, bro, listen. Sometimes you don't even care if what you created is even good. You just
Hmm.
it's just
Or
a W.
popular.
It's just a W that you got it done.
Hmm.
So no, I feel that shit in my spirit. That is, I feel that in my soul.
Hmm.
That hit me on
Yeah.
a spiritual level.
Especially depending on how long you've been working on it.
Yeah, 86% felt that just getting the shit onto the store was a
Hmm.
success. Jesus, Jesus,
Yeah.
Jesus. That is. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
con considering that, it's not that big of a surprise that a lot of the games also don't get much post-release support or that heavy post-release
Yeah,
support
yeah, they're
because they
fucking
say,
burnt.
yep, that was a success. We're working on the next thing.
They're fucking burnt out.
Yeah,
they
maybe
fucking
not necessarily burned out, but just they've put a cross on that. They've checked it. They checked that box. They crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and thinking creatively on the next game.
I mean, yeah, I vibe that. I'll be honest, I
Mm-hmm.
do. I vibe that shit to like the nth degree. So that hits me somewhere personal with that. It's like you just get it done and you just want to go to like the next fucking W. So I hear that. Kill your darlings. Oh, this about to get fucking miserable now when you start your
Mm,
page with kill your darlings.
yeah. Now we're
Oh
getting to
man.
those 43%.
The term kill your darlings is well known in the mobile games industry. Many titles never see the light of day due to failure to meet expectations and KPI during production and soft launch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not very surprised on that one. Our survey shows that 40% of mobile games are killed during development. Uh, Impact, 33% made them more driven. 32%
Mm-hmm.
made safer choices on the next game. 26% felt pressured to experiment less.
Mm-hmm.
Really? And
I mean,
25% took riskier decisions on the next. No, because,
mm-hmm.
like, okay, because if you're looking, okay, now I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if every dev that gets into this might necessarily know some of these statistics going into like game dev. They might not
Mm-hmm.
know this. My the way I look at it is like if I went into like game dev, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
knew on some level that like half of games don't even make it past launch.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Don't even make it to the launch. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel like that 26% is low. Cuz you wouldn't really want to, right? Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to take like riskier decisions and do like experiment super heavy.
Mm. The question would be that how much is the overlap between the 26% that felt pressure to experiment less and the 32% that made safer choices for the next game? I wonder
Yeah.
what the overlap on that is. Because it
Yeah,
might
right.
be big, but it also might be smaller to make the overall percentage high. Because that would
24
be around 50% or over 50% potentially.
one near one fourth one fourth of most experienced devs feel cancellations are part of the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the vets.
Yeah,
And those are those that already have
the...
seen it all. Yeah, those are the ones that already have seen enough cancellations to know, yeah, this is
yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah,
Hmm.
what yeah, like some of the things we're gonna do are just not gonna they're not gonna launch.
Hmm.
Just do
Yeah.
your best. You know, always put in the best that you can. Just understand that not everything that we do is always
Yeah.
going to launch. And if it does launch, it might not always be successful. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
hard work, unfortunately, does not always mean
Yeah,
just
it doesn't always
reward.
pay off in this
Yeah,
case. Hmm.
it just doesn't. It's sad. It sucks, but it's reality.
Hmm.
Damn. It's those that 26 and 25%. Yeah, I
Hmm.
really would like to know about some
That's
of the
interesting.
over.
That's really a way of hard left, hard right. It's just they just
Yeah,
went
it's
go
like
completely different
it's like
directions.
it's like there's this percentage of more driven and yeah, I don't know. Some of these
Hmm.
numbers, I'm just like, I feel like some of these numbers, like you said, I want to know if there's any overlap between a few of these, because some of
Hmm.
these I feel like there would be some like really hard
Yeah.
overlap.
Yeah.
Because if you're make,
Intuitively, just on intuition, I would almost say the 33% that are more driven are potentially also riskier decisions. That part of that
yeah,
with a
that
relatively good overlap, but mm,
hard to say.
not sure.
It's hard to
Yeah,
say.
it could also be that they are more driven to have a release, so they make safer decisions. That's also quite possible.
There's a human element to cancellation. 25% of those surveys said ending development of the game left them feeling creatively unfulfilled. Yeah, we read this before. Of the
Mm-hmm.
respondents, 30% of junior devs with less than 1 year of experience reported creative unfulfillment. Meanwhile, 20% of
Mm-hmm.
developers 1 to 3 years reported the same feeling, as did 27% with 4 to 5 years in the industry. 28% of 6 to 10 years experience
Mm-hmm.
of the most senior developers with 10 years in the industry. Only 14% said that canceled games led in
Mm-hmm.
development led to create. But that's like you said, the
Yeah.
people with the most
Those
experience
10
aren't.
have,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they're not
those have
fate.
seen it all.
Yeah, they're not fate. They're not dealing with like that soul crushing nature.
Yeah.
At that point, they're
They're the
numb to
battle
that
hardened
shit.
ones.
Yeah, they're
They're the
used to
battle
that
hardened
shit.
ones. They say,
Yeah.
okay, another one, death.
All right. All
Okay,
right.
next.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
this one might
I'm
actually
almost,
launch.
I'm almost surprised that the percentage for the junior devs with less than 1 year isn't higher. Almost surprised on that.
Yeah, right.
It's just 30%. That's a pretty good number, honestly. That it's that they're going in with more realistic expectations than I would have guessed.
And peaks and troughs, right? Is that the word? Troughs?
Trouse,
Uh,
Trouse, I would have said something like
yeah. What? I'm sorry.
trough. Yeah, yeah,
Trough.
trough.
Okay,
Hmm.
peaks and troughs. Fair enough. 83% of games die within 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
47% of games die within a year,
Mm-hmm.
and only
No.
17% of games die within 6 months, which is a
Mm-hmm.
dramatic fall off between the 6 months to a year, which tells me
Yeah.
that it tells me that usually the problem, to me it sounds like the problems don't the longer the dev is, the more the problems arise. The more
I
the
mean,
problems.
the more the user fall off
Yeah,
affects them, obviously.
yeah.
Although it might be different things depending, because 17% isn't that low, honestly, for 6 months. Because
Elaborate.
where they completely die. I mean, that says those 17% of the releases completely die in 6 months. So no updates, no users, nothing.
Oh yeah.
Which,
Ugh.
yeah,
6 months.
that's
Yeah,
yeah,
that's harsh. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
not yeah. When you put it like that, that's fucking harsh.
yeah.
God damn.
That's essentially, yeah, you put it out in 6 months and it's done. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have no more, nothing else there. It's probably also gone from from the App Store or something like that, depending. So
So
that's probably,
is
and dev has to do something else.
this is mostly just talking about the support thing that we talked from one of the much
Mm-hmm.
earlier pages. Within just like I said, only 5% receive longer term support, which yeah, okay.
Yeah, and 47% of the games are gone out within a year. That's yeah.
Yeah.
You
What
really, and I mean, for one, that's obviously not great for the developer if they have not even a year
to
of,
get their legs to just
yeah, essentially to just to be able to do something else without too much pressure. But also for the players, it might not be great because that demotivates them in the long run to just invest in a new game because they know, okay, I'm playing this, and after at most a year, the money is going to be gone anyway.
I'm honestly I'm gonna I don't think I should say this out loud.
Hmm.
I feel like I should.
Okay.
Yeah, right. If I'm saying,
Hmm.
I don't really even want to like touch mobile games now. The more I learn about these statistics, the more I'm just like,
Hmm.
I don't even really want to fuck with mobile games.
There you
Like,
go.
yeah.
There you go.
Is
Yeah.
that wrong? Is that like, am I
No,
fucked
I
up
wouldn't
on
say
that?
so.
I feel like I
No,
don't know if I'm fucked up with that opinion. I just feel like the more I learn through this, the more I'm like, I just don't want to fuck with mobile games. I just feel like this is just not.
at least not with new ones that are free to play or
Yeah.
something. Maybe look at ones that have been around for a longer time, more than
Yeah.
3 years, and then You'll
Yeah,
see, okay, that's been around for more than 3 years, so chances are it'll be around for a few more years.
yeah.
And
So
there's already been a lot of content added. Might be fun. But yeah, obviously, that's that's probably in the long run might not be the greatest sustainability in
So
that
I
market.
would like to skip down to page 14
Mm-hmm.
because this is some stuff that we haven't already seen. The
Uh-huh.
last
Yeah.
couple pages were already things we kind of already talked about. I kind of want to get to
Mm-hmm.
some newer content. The monetization in UA, best performing networks.
Yeah. Ad networks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not surprised by the one that wins. Gonna be honest, not surprised. That doesn't surprise
Yeah,
me.
but it's not that much of a lead. It's really not that much of a lead. That TikTok is higher than one would expect in that regard.
No,
So
actually, no.
advertising TikTok stuff, that's pretty good.
Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really surprised a little bit
Mm-hmm.
that TikTok isn't higher.
Hmm.
Like just like my own tertiary, like looking at like
Mm-hmm.
certain types of advertising and the way advertising has worked, TikTok
Mm-hmm.
is a veritable hotbed for advertising, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a lot of really good click through happens through TikTok, and then I
Mm-hmm.
think secondary can usually come through like Facebook is usually what people talk about getting good click through.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah, that's
fact,
meta in this case. So yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm honestly surprised it's only at 39. Now, that might
Mm-hmm.
just be because of the sheer amount of volume of ads that probably run on TikTok. That might, well, no, because the sheer amount
That's
of, it
hmm.
might be the sheer amount of ads, perhaps. I'm just
Yeah,
surprised TikTok
honestly,
isn't higher.
it would be interesting to see the comparison from a few years before that. So the last 2, 3 years or so, how that developed.
Yeah,
So
TikTok,
if depending on how TikTok, I mean, because Google Ads has been a really big entity for a
yeah.
long time. Meta obviously also, but I think Google has probably been the biggest one for a while.
Yeah, I'm not saying
And
TikTok would
TikTok,
pass Google. I'm not saying that. I'm
yeah,
saying I just feel like
it
TikTok is higher.
it depends on how long TikTok has been in that area, or if that's been a development for the last 1 or 2 years, because then it would be a really high number already.
All right. Measuring performance. Let's see here. Analytic to measure the campaign and monetization
Hmm.
performance are key. 74% of developers said they predict the lifetime value and return on ad. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
With over a quarter, 26% stating that they didn't measure these at all. Really?
Hmm.
Okay,
It's interesting.
32% said that they measure these KPIs up to 180 days, while only just 5% predict LTV and spend up to 360 days. Yeah, but see that 5% has the money to do that though. If you're
Mm.
spending, that's a lot of money if you're spending on an ad campaign out
Eh,
that.
I mean, that's predicting. I am
Oh,
that's
predicting. Okay,
analysis.
yeah,
That's
that's
analysis. So they are probably. That's a good question. How to predict that? That's
yeah.
for
How?
some. It
Yeah,
might be. For some, it might be easier due to being around in the market and having the resources or the past experience to know how to predict it. Or maybe they are partnering with someone who can predict it. But
yeah. I feel like the more
yeah.
experienced you are, the more metrics you have from the past in order to like look
Mm-hmm.
at certain trends. But if you're new, you probably wouldn't have. You probably
Yeah,
if you.
it's.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like
It's also.
a lot of this is gonna be driven just by experience of the dev itself. Like the more they've done,
Yeah,
the more metrics they
that
have to run with to make their decisions.
or the partner they're running with for the ads, depending. It's also a good question how much more how much more useful data you get out of the 360-day prediction in comparison to the 180 prediction. It's a good question.
Looking to the future.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that is interesting though, because 32%
Yeah.
measure at half a year and only 5% measure a full year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because now you mention it, that's a really big gap between a year and
Yeah.
half a year. So maybe there. I mean, honestly, I would really question how accurate you can predict anything
That's a
outside of
good
a couple
question.
of months, like
Mm-hmm.
like
That's
trying to predict half a year alone already seems
mm-hmm.
like pulling out a crystal ball and hoping and praying that what you see might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Predicting up to a year seems
Hmm.
like actual magic.
Honestly, the 5% would line up pretty well with the whole just 5% receiving support beyond 7 years. That would line up pretty well with that.
Oh yeah, if you're
So it wouldn't
predicting out,
surprise me if it's those that are saying, okay, I want the full year prediction. We've been around for
yeah,
long enough. We have enough data, so we
we,
could probably get a decently accurate prediction there.
we could probably guess. We could probably predict it. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because like that. Yeah, because if you could look out a year and feel
Yeah.
fairly confident that the prediction's going to be
Mm-hmm.
relatively on bar, you could
Yeah.
probably go,
Especially if you have the data of 7+ years
yeah,
in the past.
you can relatively go, all right, might not be worth supporting it after this year because the prediction
For
doesn't look
example, yeah.
great after this year. So
Depending on how the user base is developing and all that, yeah.
looking into the future, the global games industry revenue
Mm-hmm.
declined for the first time in 2022 by falling 5% year over year.
Which is not that high of a decline, I'd say.
5%? That almost seems like a rounding error.
And
That
I mean,
almost
considering what the development has been overall in terms of prices in
in the economy here in my
the
country.
economy and all that, 5% almost seems low. But yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah, right. Like with everything going on, that 5%
hmm
seems really low.
yeah.
I would
I
expect a
wonder
bit
how
higher.
it's yeah, I wonder how it's gonna be once they have the numbers for 2023. How the comparison will be.
Ooh, ooh, yeah.
That will be interesting.
I want to see that shit. Oh, I
Hmm
want to see that shit. All
Yeah,
right.
because that might be a bigger downturn potentially.
The road ahead. 34% of developers believe new releases are the way to success. 30% of developers believe that legacy games are the way to success. Then 37% uncertainty is stopping new games development. Uncertain.
Hmm
So there
Yeah.
is by percentage more uncertainty in new games development. But
hmm
we've already kind of like this is the mobile sector. We already
hmm
know that like new IPs in like the console sector are basically like rare. Like new things don't get made all like brand new things, brand new
hmm
unestablished things don't get made often. So really I feel like the mobile industry might just be reflecting what we've already seen to
Kinda,
some
although this
degree.
obviously with new game development doesn't always mean new IP or new things. That also might
Just
mean sequels and all that. Depending,
just making a
it
new
doesn't
game.
stay. Yeah, exactly.
Just
Just making a new title instead of supporting the already existing one. Because yeah, it's which is understandable at the current in the current situation that some are hesitant to make new games, especially when they already have a successful one on the market and they can keep that one going.
But
Obviously, it depends on. Hmm?
honestly, the percentage difference between the new games and legacy games is shockingly very close.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
It's
they're pretty
shockingly
close. And I
very,
wonder
very
what
close.
the remaining around 30% seem to be undecided. Or maybe they say, there's no way to succeed. Fuck it.
Oh God, pure apathy. That's exact. Yeah, yeah. We're
Not sure if that's apathy, more like despair and such. Like
yeah,
dread, despair, horror.
yeah. But like, I almost don't know what word to ascribe it because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how I feel just on like an emotional level with this white paper and the data they've collected. It is a little
Mm-hmm.
soul. It is kind of soul crushing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of it is. It is soul crushing. I'm sorry.
Mm.
I don't necessarily have a lot of.
It's it certainly paints a different picture than we often see when the mobile market is talked about. Like because we mostly hear about great amount of players, great games there, and
Tons of money
we
and yeah,
yeah, tons of money to be made and gold rush situation and all, and really grand titles like Genshin Impact, which is also a big part in the mobile market. So and makes tons of money.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
that's and stuff like Diablo Immortal.
yeah, right. Yeah, Diablo Immortal. Thanks,
When
really.
even stuff like that can make that ton of money, then you don't really see this aspect of
Yeah,
the
this
market.
is this is not what I was expecting. I'm gonna be real with
Hmm.
you. I walked away from this now going, I don't know if I really want to fuck around with mobile games now. Like I just don't. I just don't.
Hmm.
Um I don't know how I feel. I feel like I'd be contributing to a rather meat grinder market
Hmm.
where there is a considerable amount of just, oh, this is like where like a new game gets released and I'm like, God, how many games got scrapped for you guys to come up with this one?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Hmm.
I think after reading this, I kind of have to think about that. If a new mobile game comes out that's like blowing up the
Hmm.
market, my first thought's gonna be, fuck, how many games did they fucking have to fucking can to
Hmm.
create to
Yeah.
get this one out the door? Whew.
Yeah. Or how many other devs has the team been involved with before they got to this?
Right. God, I don't know
Mm.
how I feel. I
Yeah.
really don't, man. This was a very enlightening read. I'm not gonna lie. Going through all this data
Mm.
is very enlightening. I never like yeah, some of it I probably have already known just by doing the show, like the layoffs and shit. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't honestly the 6,000 is yeah, I believe
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't ask you for sources on that one. I'd
Hmm.
probably take you
Yeah.
at your word.
Yeah, it's 500 devs. That's a little more than 10 people per dev that would be laid off. So yeah,
Yeah, that
perfectly,
yeah, it
perfectly reasonable. Not a surprise.
doesn't even strike me as remotely being absurd. You know what also isn't absurd, CD?
Hmm.
Where
Yeah.
people can enjoy our podcast.
Yeah.
Spotify, Google, and Apple every single week. Wouldn't you know it? I know, right?
Ooh.
They can even see the
Whoa.
video. They can even see the video podcast of our show on our YouTube channel, Turn Based Cynics. Oh, what?
Ooh.
You know what?
Amazing.
Unlike last week's segue, I don't feel
Mhm.
nearly as bad about this one. This one does not cause
Mhm.
me to want to die on the inside. Thank you very much. Just throwing that out there. I hope you all enjoyed the show, everybody. I think it was interesting. A little bit of a
Yes, sir.
different take on a show this week because there
Mhm.
wasn't a lot going on in the industry in general
Yeah,
outside of
it's
like,
been really quiet.
you know,
Quiet before the storm.
yeah,
Oh, let's hope not.
oh, yeah, only it's only a matter of time until something happens. But
Mhm.
don't you worry,
True
boys
that.
and girls. Turn-based Cynics, we're not going nowhere. We're not going anywhere. Don't worry, industry. We'll wait.
Mhm. We're patient.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a matter of if, guys. It's only a
Mm.
matter of when.
Popcorn's on standby.
Oh, you know it. You know it. I'm ready. I'm ready. It doesn't matter. Y'all think you don't
Mhm.
think I'm impatient? I'm not impatient. Trust me. I've been in this game way too long for impatient, all right? I had to sit through the Fallout
Mhm.
76 arc of the gaming news sector, and I had to sit through Telltale.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had to sit through both of those. I
Mhm.
survived Bethesda. I think I deserve an award. Felt like I escaped a shooting. Shit was crazy. They sent out plastic bags and shit as pre-order rewards.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm watching you motherfuckers. Anyways, everybody, hope you have a fantastic week and yeah, a fantastic week mostly. There's no more. There's no holidays yet. Oh, we're
Mhm.
starting a new holiday season, which means you know, uh, Mariah Carey has now been unthawed and
Oh
has
yeah.
Mariah
Mhm.
Carey has now the S S S
Mhm.
S C S C P 1225 has now been released. She escapes every single
Mhm.
year. we the foundation can't keep her contained.
Yeah.
So beware if you turn on your radio because Mariah
Mm.
Carey has been freed from stasis. Anyways, everybody, have a fantastic week. We'll see you all next time.
See ya.